Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, July 29th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We're going to start with soccer. I hope you guys caught some of the Gold Cup over the weekend, where the United States men's national team wins the Gold Cup. They beat Panama 1-0 in front of 60,000 fans at historic Soldier Field in Chicago. The United States has now won 11 straight games. They're going to be ranked in the top 20 when the new world rankings come out. They are flying high. They are playing very, very well. Yesterday's game was very tight. Remember, Klinsmann, the coach, suspended for this game, so he wasn't on the sidelines. He's up in the stands. Panama was in a defensive shell the whole game, basically. First half is 0-0, even though the United States dominated in possession. I think the possession was 75-25 in favor of the United States. They couldn't get a goal in the first half, though. Finally, in the second half, in the 69th minute, Brett Shea gets the little tap in to put the United States up, and the United States hangs on and wins 1-0. Tremendous job by the United States. I actually liked this Gold Cup. I thought it was an exciting event. I really got into it. Very, very nice job by the United States. Glad to see they won this Gold Cup, so I hope you guys caught some of that. If you guys are looking for some soccer over the summer, there's not much going on in the sports world, other than baseball. Maybe check out the MLS. That's, the soccer league we have here. Maybe check out the NWSL, that's the new women's soccer league. You want to check out the Portland Thorns with Alex Morgan. They get a nice crowd out there. And, of course, the Premier League, the English Premier League, will be starting in August. So if you guys are looking to get into some soccer, now may be the time to do it. Just baseball going on, not much going on until September. You may want to check out some soccer. I personally love soccer. I know in this country a lot of people don't. But check it out if you can. A lot of exciting games in soccer. Hope you caught some of the Gold Cup. All right, transitioning over to Major League Baseball. Let's go through the series over the weekend. The Cleveland Indians swept away Texas. Nice job by the Indians. They continue to play well. What a great job the Indians are doing this year. I never thought they'd be this good. Texas does get Garza in a trade that will help them. Garza is a good pitcher, but Cleveland just dusted Texas over the weekend. Tampa Bay took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. Yankees salvage a game yesterday. Jeter, typical Jeter, comes off the DL, first pitch, it's a home run. He has a flair for the dramatic Jeter. He does it yesterday. The Yankees still have too many injuries, though. Still no Granderson. Teixeira out for the year. A-Rod, who knows what you're getting from him. He could be suspended forever. Euclid still not back. They do get Soriano in a trade. He had a couple big hits yesterday. Sabathia pitching lousy. Pettit pitching bad also. What happened to Jabba Chamberlain? Remember a few years ago when Jabba Chamberlain was going to be the heir apparent to Mariano Rivera? What's happened to him? He's awful. Yankees look like a collection of old elephants. They do get a big win yesterday, but I don't like the Yankee team overall. Tampa Bay absolutely flying. I know they did lose yesterday, but they won the series. Tampa Bay is on absolute fire, playing great ball. Remember years ago when Tampa Bay was the laughingstock of baseball? Did you ever think they'd be this good? What a tremendous job by their manager and the organization. Tremendous job by Tampa Bay. Toronto did beat Houston 3 out of 4. Ho-hum, Houston's awful. Toronto's still got a lot of work to do. They're fading out of it. Detroit swept Philadelphia. The Phillies are done. Goodbye, good night. We'll see if they trade Cliff Lee. Hamels is just having a nightmare season. Holiday, who knows if he's going to come back this year. Howard, he's on the DL. He looks old. Utley, they may trade him. Rollins, the same thing. Phillies look like a bunch of old elephants, kind of like the Yankees. Phillies are absolutely done this year. Miami took 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh. I was a little surprised about that. Boston did beat Baltimore 2 out of 3. Nice job by the Bo Sox. Washington took 3 out of 4 from the Mets. The Mets actually took the first game of this series, and then Washington won the last 3. Kansas City swept away the White Sox. Kansas City is now at 500. Nice job by the Royals getting to 500. How bad are the White Sox? How awful are they this year? Terrible. Oakland took 3 out of 4 from the Angels. We may have to kick dirt on the Angels. They look like they are finished. Pujols could miss the rest of the year. How bad has Josh Hamilton been? How bad has Josh Hamilton been? What is he batting, 220? 220? This is a guy that hit, 40-something home runs last year? He's not even going to hit 25 this year. Josh Hamilton, awful. The Angels, absolutely atrocious this year. The Cubs swept San Francisco. The Giants, I mean, they're playing bad baseball. They're in last place. Now, we got to give the Giants a break. They've won 2 of the last 3 World Series. They're due for a bad year. They're having it this year. Seattle and Minnesota split. Dodgers took 3 out of 4 from Cincinnati. How about the Dodgers? They continue to play great ball. Puig with the walk-off home run. How good has H. Ramirez been? Dodgers actually lost the first game of this series, and I'm like, all right, the Dodgers are due to have a bad series. And what do? They win the last 3 against a good Reds ball club. Dodgers on absolute fire. Colorado took 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee. San Diego took 2 out of 3 from Arizona. Keep an eye on Arizona. The Dodgers now have a 3-game lead on them. Danger time for Arizona. And Atlanta just dusted away St. Louis. Nice job by Atlanta. Since the first 2 weeks of the season, Atlanta had been playing .500 ball, so this was an important series. They swept away a good St. Louis team. Hudson, unfortunately, out for the year with that incident with the Mets at first base where he got his ankle stepped on. Of course, he broke his ankle, needs to have surgery. That's a big loss for Atlanta, but they did blow out St. Louis over the weekend. So that's some of your stuff in Major League Baseball. As far as the playoffs, let's touch on the playoffs real quick for baseball right now. I know we got a long way to go, but here's how it stacks up right now with the playoffs. As far as the American League, here's the American League East. Boston has a half-game lead over Tampa, 5-game lead over Baltimore, 7.5 over the Yankees, and Toronto is 14 games out. What did Toronto, like a month ago, get it to 5 games? Now they're 14 games out. In the Central, Detroit is 3 over Cleveland and 7 over Kansas City. To me, Detroit's the class of that division. Detroit needs a closer. Detroit gets a good closer, they can win the World Series. In the West, Oakland now has a 6-game lead over Texas. I told you in spring training, Oakland was a team to watch out for. They are playing really nice ball. So that's kind of where you are as far as your American League division standings. As far as the National League division standings go, Atlanta in the East, 8-game lead over Washington and 10.5 over Philadelphia. Atlanta's got a comfortable lead. In the Central, St. Louis, 2 over Pittsburgh, 5.5 over Cincinnati. In the West, the Dodgers have now opened up a 2.5-game lead over Arizona, 3 in the loss column, 6 over Colorado. Like I said, the Giants are in last place, 10 out. I don't think they're going to do it this year. As far as your wild card goes in the American League, and remember, 2 wild card teams this year. Right now, the 2 wild card teams would be Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Cleveland is a game out. Texas a game and a half out. Yankees 2.5 out. I mean, they're still right there, although I don't think they're going to do it this year. Kansas City only 5 games out. Seattle 7.5 out. Angels 8.5 out. I don't think they're going to do it. Toronto 9 games out. And in the National League wild card right now would be Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Arizona 4.5 games out. Danger time for Arizona. Don't want to slip too far behind. Washington 7 out. Colorado 8 out. I'll tell you, some of the more disappointing teams in baseball this year, the Angels, I thought they'd be a lot better than this. Toronto, they had high expectations. San Francisco, like I said, let's give them a break. They've won 2 out of the last 3 World Series. They are having a bad year. And how bad has Washington been this year? Everyone, including me, thought Washington would have a solid ball club. They have been stumbling and bumbling all season. Those 4 teams, very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. We'll see if all 4 of those teams keep their managers. Very interesting to see. Very high expectations for all 4 of those teams. Also, of course, we had the whole steroid thing with Braun being suspended. No surprise there. We knew he was lying last year. I'm not shocked at all. We'll see what happens with A-Rod. He's the next to go. He could get suspended for a year. Nelson Cruz is also going to go. This should come as a shock to no one. We've seen this before. Just horrible, horrible stuff. I am so sick and tired of hearing about steroids and these guys lying all the time. I mean, Braun actually sat there and lied to everybody. I mean, what a joke. So those 3 guys and many more will be suspended as well. A couple little notes on baseball I want to touch on. Back to the Red Sox. How good is David Ortiz? David Ortiz, still at his advanced age, is playing so well. And I know he had a meltdown the other day where he was arguing balls and strikes and he smashed the dugout up. Let's put that aside. David Ortiz can flat out hit. I thought a couple years ago he was on the downside. He's still a tremendous hitter. I mean, he still hits home runs, still hits for a high average. I mean, I'm not a big Hall of Fame guy. I don't get into the Hall of Fame and who should be in and who should be out. To me, I know who's a Hall of Famer. I mean, I know Hank Aaron's a Hall of Famer and Mickey Mantle's a Hall of Famer. I mean, I know they put a lot of guys in that don't belong. You know, a lot of compilers get in there. To me, when I think of David Ortiz, I think he's a Hall of Fame hitter. He is still doing it at an advanced age, so I wanted to touch on that. Also, one other note from Sunday Night Baseball. Going back more to last week's game than this week's game, I am not a big Sunday Night Baseball lover, and I certainly do not like when they start an East Coast game at 8 o'clock at night. You cannot have Yankees-Red Sox, which takes like 4 or 5 hours, start at 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday when people have to get up for work the next day. I mean, these Red Sox-Yankee games go to like 12, 1 in the morning, and people got to sit there in the stands. By the time they get home and get to bed, it's like 2 in the morning, and a lot of people got to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning. Can Major League Baseball and ESPN stop being so greedy and move the game to 7 o'clock when it's on the East Coast? If it's on the West Coast, fine. Central Time, fine. You know, Mountain Time, fine. Do we need Yankees, Red Sox starting like after 8 by the time the first pitch, is thrown? I mean, do we need the game ending 12, 1 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday night, on a work night to start your work week? Imagine if you're at a Yankee-Red Sox game and it's like 12 midnight and you're sitting in the stands and you got to get up for work the next day. I mean, that's just terrible. Move the game to like 7 o'clock, if not earlier. I mean, I know it's about ratings and, greedy and they want to get every penny, but come on. You can't start these East Coast baseball games at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. Terrible job with that. All right, so that was my little rant about that. I did catch some boxing over the weekend. I did catch a few welterweight bouts. Soto Carras stopped Berto in the 12th round. Nice win by Soto Carras. Berto's done. I mean, he has a lot of heart, but he's totally overrated. They thought this guy was going to be the next big thing in boxing. He's not. He's totally overrated. He's lost, 3 of his last 4 fights. To me, he should just retire. Another welterweight bout. Thurman knocked out Chavez in the 10th round. Thurman is a real contender, 21-0, 19 knockouts. Keep an eye on him, Thurman. Remember that name. And also, I did catch a lightweight bout. Figueroa goes to 22-0. He wins the unanimous decision over Arakawa. That is a Fight of the Year candidate. I mean, Figueroa won comfortably on the cards, but Arakawa really, really hung in there. These two were throwing back and forth. I mean, just a tremendous fight. If you get a chance, go watch that fight on replay. Figueroa against Arakawa. That is up for Fight of the Year. Figueroa looks like a nice fighter in the lightweight division. Like I said, he is 22-0. In the NBA, the Indiana Pacers make another nice move. They get Scola from the Suns, and they didn't have to give up a lot. I'll tell you, I like what Indiana's doing. Indiana's close. They gave Miami all they can handle the last 2 years. Now they get Scola. They don't give up a lot. Scola's a nice role player. Remember, they're going to get Granger back. He missed all of last season. Now, they may trade Granger. We'll see about that. But either way, they're going to get Granger back, or they're going to get a nice player for him. Indiana has a solid team. They are a real threat to upset Miami next year. Indiana is doing a tremendous job, so I really like the trade by the Pacers there. I did catch some of the NBA All-Star Game where the West won and Candace Parker won the MVP. I did catch the Haskell in horse racing where Verrazano just blew away the field. Where was this performance in the Kentucky Derby? They thought they were going to get this performance in the Kentucky Derby. Well, he saved it for the Haskell. Verrazano just blew out the field. One thing I didn't touch on, back to the NBA. I meant to touch on this the last 2 times I talked to you. Butler Stevens goes to the Celtics, as we all know by now. I'll tell you, I'm going to miss Stevens at Butler. I'm going to really miss him. I wish he was going to stay there. But come on, when the Boston Celtics come calling, you got to take that job. I mean, Celtics, Lakers, some of the classic franchises, you can't turn down that job. I mean, it's not like the Timberwolves came calling or New Orleans. I mean, it's the Celtics, the Boston Celtics. Now, he's got a lot of rebuilding to do there. The Celtics have really gutted their team. Rondo's going to be coming off an injury. If they keep him, they may trade him. So there's a tremendous rebuilding job here for Boston. But there's no pressure on Stevens right now. No pressure on him. No one thinks the Celtics are going to win for years. So he's got a major rebuilding job. Would have liked to see him stay at Butler, but I totally understand that he went to Boston. I mean, come on, it's the Celtics. We'll see how Butler does now in recruiting and how they do on the floor without Stevens. So I wanted to touch on that. As far as a couple other notes, as far as the NFL, How many injuries already in training camp have there been? The Niners already might have lost Crabtree for the year. Harvin for Seattle, he might be out for the year. That would be a terrible loss for the Seahawks. Every time I turn around, someone's getting hurt in the NFL, in these training camps. How many guys have gone out for the year? It seems like a dozen already. So we'll keep an eye on the injury situation. Like I said, the Niners, who are probably going to be the Super Bowl favorites next year, they lose Crabtree for maybe the year. Maybe he gets back at the end of the year. And keep an eye on that Harvin injury for Seattle. That could be a devastating one. They don't want to lose him. That's a big pickup for Seattle. They may have lost him for the year. We'll keep an eye on that. Okay. As far as what to watch tonight, it's a baseball night tonight. Here are your series tonight. Tampa Bay at Boston. That's a big one. Angels at Texas. I mean, Angels got to win about 10 games in a row to get back in this. St. Louis, Pittsburgh, tremendous series. Toronto at Oakland. Toronto, it's now or never for you. We got the White Sox at Cleveland. Colorado at Atlanta, Cincinnati at San Diego, Milwaukee at the Cubs, and the Mets at Miami. Plenty of seats available down in South Florida for the Mets Miami. Pick your seat. You can sit right behind the dugout. Plenty of seats available. What are they going to get for that game? Maybe 10,000? So that's kind of some of your series tonight. It's a baseball night all the way tonight. Okay, as far as when I'll be back, I will be back with you Wednesday, August 28th. That's in about 4 weeks. We will start our college football picks. There are college football games starting on August 29th this year, then all through that weekend. Then the next week the NFL starts, and then we will be back to 5 shows a week, doing our NFL picks, our college picks, and we're going to be into a full 5 days a week for about 10 months. So I'll be back with you in about 4 weeks. August 28th, which is a Wednesday, that's the day before the college football season officially starts. You got some games on August 29th, and then from there you got a lot of games over the weekend. Like I said, you got your NFL coming up soon after that. While I am away, keep an eye on the PGA. That is the next golf major. That is August 8th to 11th. That's in 2 weeks. Keep an eye on that. We'll see if Phil Mickelson can do it again. I still can't believe Phil Mickelson won the British Open. I never thought he'd have a last round like that. He was tremendous. We'll see if Tiger Woods can finally win a major. It's been years. He's still trailing Jack by 4 majors. Tiger Woods has not won a major in a long time. And we'll keep an eye on McIlroy. How bad has McIlroy been? He's had a complete mental breakdown. I don't know what the deal with him is. A lot of people, including my friend down in North Carolina, have said because of his equipment change, that's why he's playing so badly. Now me, I don't know. I mean, I'm a bad golfer no matter what club I use. If I'm using Nike or Titleist or, a wooden stick, I'm just a bad golfer. I mean, I'm a good, putter, and I'm good at pitch and putt, but you get me on a big course, I'm a horror show. So it doesn't matter what club I'm using. I didn't realize it was that big of a deal to the pros. Like, to me, if McIlroy was using Titleist or Nike, I didn't think it was a big deal because he's so good. A lot of golf aficionados have said that's the problem, though, including my friend down in North Carolina, and he would know he's a big golfer, a really good golfer as well. I'll leave it to those guys. Maybe that is the reason. To me, it looks like he's had a complete mental breakdown. Maybe it's a combination of things. His equipment changed. Maybe he's distracted. Maybe, just a lot of things going on in his life right now. Remember, he's still a young kid. He's in his young 20s. So we'll see. He's eventually going to turn it around. I mean, he's got a long career ahead of him. He's very talented. We'll keep an eye on McIlroy, though, because he has been absolutely atrocious. He was a plus 12 at the British Open. That's not good. So definitely keep an eye on the PGA in 2 weeks. Of course, you're going to have all your baseball, the rest of the summer as well. All right, so you guys are all caught up. You guys, thanks for the support as always. You guys stay safe until I talk to you the next time. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your baseball. Enjoy your golf, whatever else that comes up in the sports world. Like I said, take a peek at some soccer over the summer. Check out some MLS games. Check out the new women's league, the NWSL. Check out the Portland Thorns team with Alex Morgan. Tremendous crowd, tremendous player. Check out some soccer. You'll really enjoy it. All right, you guys, I'll be back with you on August 28th. I will talk to you then. You guys, thanks for the support. Stay safe. Enjoy the games. Talk to you soon. Take care.